Arteta confidently defeats Tottenham and brings Arsenal closer to winning the Premier League. Let's break down what happened in the match. Tottenham, uncharacteristically for themselves but very logically, chose a defensive setup with 5 defenders and played in a 5-2-3 structure. But despite this, already in the second minute, a major pattern appeared. One that continued throughout the entire match. It was the collapse of the holding midfield zone, which we'll talk about in detail later. That's where Eze receives the ball, turns and chips a pass into the box. A moment that almost ends in a goal as early as the 3rd minute. Now let's talk tactics. Tottenham's 5-2-3 didn't allow Arsenal much space to operate. At times, Arsenal tried to overload the center and create a 3v2 advantage against Spurs' 2 central midfielders. Tottenham stayed compact, closing the middle and deliberately leaving the flanks open. But once Arsenal shifted the ball wide, one of the wingbacks immediately stepped up aggressively to press the receiver, which made perfect sense. In this episode, we see the wingback stepping out and Arsenal's players connecting with a very clean combination. Timber plays a one-touch pass into the wide channel for Saka, who is already ready to attack that space. These passes didn't always go through, but quick decision-making is always a big advantage. Mikel Merino also frequently shifted to Arsenal's right flank to overload that zone and create numerical superiority there. Of course, I also want to highlight, as always, the inverted role of Calafiori, who consistently pushed higher, played between the lines, and forced one of Tottenham's center-backs to step out with him, opening more space for his teammates in deeper areas. Tottenham played quite passively without the ball and essentially ceded full initiative to Arsenal. Here we see an Arsenal player drops deeper, and no one tracks him. He simply receives, turns, and scans the space. Very often, as mentioned earlier, Arsenal created 3v2 situations on the flanks, giving them numerical superiority. Timber and Saka attacked those zones, Eze could drift there, and Merino appeared occasionally as well. This created a recurring situation. Tottenham's left center-back was mainly responsible for ease, while the wing-back had to defend against 2 players, Saka and Timber. And in this episode, in the 9th minute, with no pressure on the ball and a clear overload on the flank, we see Timber attacking the depth again. An Arsenal player plays a solid through ball, another potential dangerous moment. Tottenham's first pressing line was very wide. Look at the gaps between the players. Because of this, Arsenal, who kept a back 3 in possession and also dropped an additional holding midfielder deeper, were able to receive passes in the half spaces. From there, they immediately faced forward and stepped into the open channel between Spurs' first-line players. The first line wasn't compact, and Arsenal could break through it simply by carrying the ball into that open space. Another typical Tottenham pattern was that they often shifted heavily toward the ball, trying to close down the flank with multiple players. But Arsenal's technical level is outstanding. Even surrounded by 3 Tottenham players, Timber calmly handles the situation and turns out of pressure. And at that moment, the holding midfield zone behind them is completely empty. Merino receives the ball, takes his first touch, and then we see the type of mistake I probably hate the most in football. Passivity. Look at this. 3 players start running toward Merino. The distance between them and Merino is very small, yet none of them engages in active pressing. They're all just shuffling, trying to block passing lanes, but no one actually attempts to win the ball. This allows Merino to lift his head, scan the pitch, spot Trossard already ready to attack the depth, and deliver a brilliant pass into the penalty area. How can you be this passive when 3 players are around Mikel Merino, with 2 of them standing within 3 meters of him and doing absolutely nothing? It's terrible. That's the passiveness of Tottenham. And that's exactly what lost them this game, in my opinion. A perfect ball, a great first touch from Trossard turn and goal. And after the first goal, Tottenham completely fell apart. The second goal didn't take long to arrive. A duel for a loose ball. First, look at how the Tottenham player loses this challenge. He doesn't try to get there first. Instead of going around Timber in this situation and trying to get to the ball before him, Timber simply uses his body, shields it, and the number 28 doesn't even attempt to take a better position. So Timber calmly chest passes the ball forward to an absolutely free Arsenal player on the flank. Here I highlight both the Tottenham player and the Arsenal player, because in this episode, the Tottenham player must sprint and track Timber, but he doesn't, and he doesn't block the passing lane. Again, Tottenham have numerical superiority on the flank. They shift extremely compactly toward the ball, but it doesn't help. A quick combination follows. Saka plays the pass to Timber. Timber receives the ball, and no one closes him down. Most of the Tottenham players are stuck on the flank. It's 1v1 in the finishing zones, and Tottenham's holding midfield zone is completely empty. The holding midfield, which today collapsed catastrophically. All the goals Arsenal scored came exactly from that area. A cross into the box. The ball is cleared. Look at the second ball zone. 3 Arsenal players. No one else is there. The pass goes to Eze. He takes it with his left, shifts slightly to the right, sends the Tottenham player flying past him, shows excellent dribbling, beats 2 players, and shoots. The third goal is almost identical. Another scramble on the flank. Tottenham again have numerical superiority there. 2 players in the finishing zone. One stays closer to the flank, ready to cover and help teammates, and another marking the player at the far post. But once again, the holding midfield zone is empty, and the highlighted Tottenham player could clearly position himself better. If you choose defensive priorities, the holding midfield zone should be your main focus. It's one of the most dangerous zones in football. Ideally, he should position himself somewhere around here, close enough to Eze to deny him space, and still within about 15 meters of Calafiori to track his run if he joins the attack. That would have been a very good defensive position in my opinion. Again, Arsenal win this flank battle. A couple of favorable bounces. Eze receives the ball completely free. No one closes him down. First touch forward, sets himself up, and scores. Arsenal did concede in this match, but Tottenham created very little. The goal came from Arsenal's own mistake. We see Zubimendi carrying the ball. Instead of simply turning the attack and passing to Timber, he holds on to it too long, gets tackled, and loses possession. And here I want to highlight the brilliance from Richarlison, who notices that David Raya is far off his line, high outside the box, and strikes the ball from 40 meters. An incredible finish almost into the top corner. A stunning goal from Richarlison, but it didn't help Tottenham come back. Now let's talk about the final Arsenal goal. Tottenham were already throwing more players forward, trying to commit numbers. Because of that, in their build-up, we see the goalkeeper stepping much higher and forming a back 3 with the 2 center backs. But this actually created a problem. A long ball from the goalkeeper. And let's remember Merino's position here. He is standing between the 2 center backs, absolutely free. Tottenham are attacking, so no one should be marking Merino at this moment. But this ends up backfiring. An aerial duel. Arsenal win it. The ball drops nicely for them. And now let's highlight a few key mistakes in the sequence from Tottenham players. First, look at the duel between Arsenal's number 19 and Tottenham's number 24. The Arsenal player reacts faster, starts running to create a passing line. Then, the overall structure, where the goalkeeper acts as the central center back, also affects this episode. Merino gets plenty of space to receive the ball, shield it with his body, and then play the pass to Trossard, who makes a perfectly timed run, creates the passing lane, and reacts quicker than the Tottenham midfielder. Then we can immediately highlight the second duel that decides the outcome of this episode. The duel between Tottenham's central midfielder and Eze. Again, the Tottenham player is just watching football. Trossard receives the ball, and within a second, the 1 meter gap between Eze and the Tottenham midfielder turns into more than 5 meters. That's a loss of concentration, poor tracking, and simply a defensive mistake. Trossard then produces a brilliant pass between 3 Tottenham players who seem to be closing him down. Yet the ball still goes straight into the holding midfield zone, which once again is completely empty for Tottenham. That zone was a black hole the entire game. Eze receives the ball, watches another Tottenham player fly past him, and scores, making it 4-1. And since we're talking about Arsenal, we definitely have to discuss their set pieces. Arsenal's set pieces today showed a very interesting new idea from free kick situations. 5 players position themselves at the far post zone. And what happens next? A fantastic set-piece routine. The players on the far side start sprinting toward the central area of the box. At the same time, Saka hits a powerful shot toward the far corner. Why is this a clever tactical concept? First, at the moment of the strike, the opposition goalkeeper may have a completely blocked line of sight. He's screened by the crowd of players and can't see the ball's trajectory, which increases the chance of conceding. Second, the shot is powerful, and the Arsenal runners can easily redirect it. The ball flies extremely close to their heads. If someone jumps 1 or 2 centimeters higher, he can make contact and score. And if no one touches it, the ball is still curling perfectly toward the far corner. This is an excellent set-piece design. Saka shoots on target, the goalkeeper is blinded, you still have the option of redirecting the ball with a header into the goal. If you're a coach or a player, take it, learn it, use it. It looked fantastic. Arsenal continue their chase for the Premier League title, already holding a 6-point lead over their closest competitor. And this week, Arsenal will play Bayern in the Champions League. Tomorrow on this channel, we will break down how Arsenal can crack Bayern's defensive structure. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'll be happy to reply to each one. And stay tuned for even more in-depth analytical football content.